we're nearing towards the end of June, so it means we are nearing towards the end of the first month of the summer and the transfer window. And there's been a lot of teams who have been pretty active in this summer or so far, like make a lot of signings, a lot of sales. So there's one team that's kind of bothered me a lot with their inactiveness so far this first month, and that is Man United. Also, we know Man United came into this summer with a big urgency of trying to make signings, trying to do a squad overhaul. You know, there's some teams in Europe that had to do a squad overhaul, like some Madrid, for example, Man City, some teams in that category that do a squad overhaul. And United came into this season after 15th place finish, no European football to play this season after losing to Tottenham in the league final. So we knew that that was their worst season ever for Man United, and they had to come into this summer and make something happen, make some signings, and trying to rebuild the squad. Because if they go into next season with the same guard or the same squad, they're not going to have any success. And I don't see them even developing any further than maybe lower table and not doing anything better than what this 15th place finish they've got, which are already maybe pretty good. I don't know, it's not pretty good, but like they could have ended up way worse, like 17th, like Spurs did. They finished 15th, and I mean, there have been teams in the Premier League and across Europe who have been very active in the transfer window. Like Liverpool, for example, is the best example. Liverpool is a team that just won Premier League title. Obviously, don't think they have a big urgency to make signings this summer, but they recognize that the squad has their roles and whatever. And they brought in Jamie Frimpong for £40 million as a bargain. Get a cash for a similar fee, also a bargain. Also bringing in Wirtz, who's an amazing player for the record with the transfer fee, I think, or something near that. And they're making some excellent moves this summer. We're also selling Gallagher to Brentford, and Dario Nunes, I think, is also close to leaving Napoli. And they've been very, very active also in the times of sales departments, just after kind of Kwanzaa well, has already left. So like that team, for example, Liverpool, for example, is a team that's been very active in the transfer market and that's going to this summer with less urgency that United has had, for example. Also, we know that United coming to this season with a lot of financial problems. According to Sergio Radcliffe, United's owner, when he arrived at United, I think like it was 2 months away from bankruptcy, like they had to cut some spendings or whatever. So it's pretty obvious that United doesn't have the same spending power as Liverpool or like Man City or Real Madrid as, but I still expected them to be a bit more aggressive. Also, they need to do some sales, and there was some reports in the beginning of the summer about the potential budget that United and Reading would have, and that would be about around £100 million, which, to be fair, right, is still pretty good. £100 million can get to like 2 to 3 good players that can actually change your team. And again, same topic as teams who have been very active in the transfer window, like City, for example. They had a kind of subpar season this year. Obviously not as compared to United because they still got Champions League football. They still went to the FA Cup final. But they recognized that the squad getting old and they needed their overhaul, their rebuilds. And they came into this summer, already signed Ryan Nuri, Ryan Shirky, Reinders, 3 amazing signings. And they recognized that the need of a squad rebuild. And I think United liked a lot and missed a lot in terms of not recognizing that earlier for themselves. And Madrid team has also brought in Trent on a free. You bring Frank Antonio, brought in Xabi Alonso as a manager. And Man United kind of only has brought Matheus Cunha. Also, that's a pretty good signing, in my opinion. Matheus Cunha is a pretty good player. He's coming from Wolves, and he's just had a pretty good season for a Wolves team, like I think 16th or like somewhere around that zones in the table. But obviously, he's a pretty good player. He faces a big need in United, which isn't solved yet, but very much helps that issue with the attack. They need to find in at least 2 players for their attack because also Oshlund, Xerxes that aren't playing as they should have had. Garnacho is with doesn't have a place in the squad. Rashford, Sancho, and they start 3 wingers that also need to get rid of. And you don't know if Bruno is going to keep playing number 10 or not. So bringing Matheus Cunha as a guy who can play number 10, play number 9, be very versatile in that front 3 is also very good in my opinion. But again, it's not one signing. Man United squad has a lot of issues to fix. Like every single department, I think there are at least 1 player who makes sense to bring in. Like a goalkeeper, maybe that's a debate that we have that Onana needs to be replaced. I think there's more than a fight than a debate. Onana also needs to be replaced either not this summer or next year. Maybe United can still hold on to him for 1 more year. And defense, especially Johnny Evans and Lindelof leaving on the free this year, they need to bring more guys. They have the Leeds, they have Lenny Yoro, Martinez is a very injury prone center back. You don't really have another natural center backs options apart from those. Also, you have Ethan Evan, the young guy. Well, again, you need some center backs as well there. Midfield is probably the best department where you're kind of most comfortable with. You have like a good midfield there in the middle. You have Ugarte, Maino, Bruno can play there. Casemiro had a pretty good second of the season. You have Mason Mount. So I think you could be satisfied at least for at least 1 more year. And into wing backs, if Dort will continue as a good player, Amad Diallo is playing very well by being back and should continue there. When an attack, as I said, a lot of players need to be replaced and a lot of positions need to be fixed. Either with signing number 9, who's natural, like Lionel, they wanted to go after him, or like a Gyökeres. Maybe go like more versatile striker like Ekitiki and guys of that similar archetype of strikers. But also, as I said, they have a budget of £100 million. They brought him to Cunha for, I think, around £65 million, with Luis Claus, you had above £65 million. And they spent, like, I won't say the majority, like a big portion of the transfer budget on Matheus Cunha. And now I feel like they're stuck on either going after next transfer targets or going after someone else. Like, even in sales, obviously, we know they're not either. As I said, they don't have the financial power to really do a lot in the transfer window, but still, like, they have a lot of players that kind of need to be sold. Like, so in the attack solely, you have guys who, like 4 guys or 5 guys who are kind of on sale. Mr. Mount is also a guy that's being pointing towards some exit rumors in the past couple of days. Like, they have guys like Garnacho, who's obviously has some suitors around him. Even Arsenal and Chelsea have some interest teams in Serie A. And I think I see some links regarding Garnacho, but like we haven't seen any concrete regarding Rashford. There's a possibility to go Barcelona, but it seems very difficult to get a deal done if it isn't a loan. Garnacho, like, same situation, like he has like Arsenal, Chelsea, and now like vaguely interested teams, but not doing enough to put them out and try to sell them and try to make deals with any clubs. Anthony is a guy that Ravetic, I suppose he wants him very much, but there's no deal, any like concrete links or any possibilities being made yet. I think even in the sales department, I think it should be a bit more reluctant, I would say, like a little bit more open to selling some players. Like, you have already done a mistake by signing Anthony for that much money. Maybe if you don't get like £40 million and you get like £25 million or £30 million for him, like, you should need all the money you can get right now, and to just also take away his wages from the wage bills. Also very, very good. I think United should be more open to lower the fee transfers. I mean, there be some reports of a loans moves. Honestly, I don't really like loan moves for United. I think they need the money now. Or they could kind of encounter the same possibility, the same situation that they had with Sancho now at Chelsea. Like, he was spent the entire year loan on Chelsea. They had the obligation to buy £5 million. Like, it's really money for Sancho. But then they backed out of the deal with Chelsea. They have paid £5 million to cancel their buyout clause. And again, I mean, United should learn from that situation, maybe not accept any more loans. But even after that, like, in terms of incomings, even our spending was 65% of your transfer budget on Matheus Cunha, you seem to be more aggressive. Either it's on free agents, maybe there was pretty cool free agent options in this summer. Either some loans, because I mean, when you are financially in problems, maybe loans is something you kind of try and get, maybe like a buy clause for next summer, or buy option for next summer when you probably are more secure financially. But still, also United is a team that over the past couple of years, I think every single one of us know. United are the team that obviously has a lot of rumors in terms of transfers. I think we've seen every single player linked to Man United in the past. I think Messi has been linked with Man United for years. Frankie de Jong is a guy that's always been linked with Man United. I don't think that's even a single year from 2018 that de Jong hasn't been linked to Man United. So that's the nature of Man United, and to be right now in the end of June, and towards the first month, and to only the links you kind of see from United Daily about potential signings, it really Mbeumo. There was some parts of a done deal on Mbeumo like a couple of weeks ago, but now it's not really that. Like, they're still pretty behind on his done deal. Now Spurs are probably trying to get him with Thomas Frank now, the manager. I'll talk about it a bit later. And only even like links. Sometimes like there are very vague reports about a player potentially wanting to join Man United. But when it's a transfer window and Man United has not done any transfer business in terms of acquiring even players, apart from the Cunha, and even rumors are kind of very rare for Man United. It's kind of something absurd and kind of speaks a lot about why Man United is being this low. Because now it's just July and August. Preseason starts like mid to end July, something around that. And this team needs to have a very good preseason, a very extensive preseason. Amorim needs to have at least a concrete squad that's gonna take it next season for this preseason. And right now, I don't think there's a lot of possibility of that happening because they brought on Matheus Cunha. They've done no effort whatsoever to sell their own players, and they're going to preseason kind of with the same cord as next year. I've even seen some reports of Marcus Rashford possibly coming back to United and actually being a real piece with next season. I think speaks a lot about why United is not really making any deals. Like they miss out on Dylan Delap. Also, I think the incentive of Chelsea right now is probably bigger than United's. They cannot rely on the incentive of playing just for United. Like the idea of playing for United is really the only incentive to bring in the players. And they lost until Delap, a guy that I think for me was amazing. A guy that I really will love. A guy that was very cheap for his release cost £30 million. It was perfect. And we were still able to bring him in. So I think so far this first month has been a massive failure for United. They need to in July it's going to be a very big month in what United does next year and next couple of years because if they don't do anything this next month, they're very much doomed for next year. Teams around them are strengthening themselves. Like since Liverpool doing so much business, Chelsea have done as well. Arsenal are doing some business with like Suleiman and trying to bring in a new striker. Like Man City, I don't think it's Man City. Man City has done their business. Tottenham, like a team to also has some kind of position as United in terms of having a very bad season, also getting towards at that trophy in the hand, also big for Tottenham. They brought in Thomas Frank, who's an amazing coach. And managed to get Kevin Downs on a permanent deal as well. Like even Newcastle has a lot of rings towards him, and they are continuing strengthening. There are some teams around them, like even in the lower table, like Crystal Palace have done some transfer business already. The teams around them, I think, have been far more aggressive in bringing guys, selling players, and also like the rumors around the teams around them are way more concrete and way more common than Man United, which again it seems like a very rare sighting of what you see in the summer transfer window to not see Man United do any deal. Like also Spurs who won the same position as them coming to this season, obviously having come from maybe their worst season ever. I mean, maybe they're not like in terms of league position, they don't have any optimism going to next season. They signed Angry, they brought in Thomas Frank, who's an amazing manager. That's a very big upgrade. And they've done a lot more than what United has done. They brought in Matheus Cunha, but one more. Like Matheus Cunha alone is not going to be able to make your team go from 15th place team to like a top 10 team, like a top 8 team. You're not going to get European football anywhere next season if you're not signing so far into Cunha. Like they need to make some aggressive moves. Like there are some pretty cheap options out there who try my native on a free. Like maybe take some younger guys who kind of take higher risks. I don't know, man. Like there are a lot of guys available. Even as striker, there's a lot of guys available. Yeah, the market is very big. Like you have Mega now because Chelsea already signed them. Like Isaac, Gyökeres, two guys like kind of mostly out of minorities possibilities. Like Jonathan David is a free agent as well. I mean, there's a lot of guys at striker departments, like Barry from Villarreal. Like there are a lot of guys there that are available. And United still hasn't really done anything other than a possible done deal to Milmo and signing of the Cunha. There's no other players who are even close to Man United, who even have links to report them to Man United. And they need to be more active in sales departments. Like I've seen reports of Garnacho and Orston's being to Napoli. Get a deal done with them. Orston, like, yeah, £30 million for Orston's. Get that deal done. Get Garnacho done. Orston Chelsea want like Garnacho sent them short lists. Offer Garnacho to Bayern. Bayern wants new wingers. They lost sign it now. They want new wingers apart from maybe Nico Williams or Rafael Young, whatever they sign. Maybe they want two new wingers. Get them Garnacho, offer them Garnacho. But they've done not. I think they've actually offered Rashford to Real Madrid. That's probably the worst thing I could have imagined. Like offering Rashford to Real Madrid is just not ideal. Like why would you offer Rashford to Real Madrid? They just need to be more smart into into this transfer window. Obviously, as we know, again, the financial problems are very tough on United, but that isn't enough of an excuse for them to have so little of activity in transfer window. I mean, for now, hopefully into July something changes, and then August they can cap off there with some one or two signings in August. But so far, I don't see how United is going to improve much from that 15th place finish there last year. So I would say time is ticking for United, and if things don't change, even darker times will come for them.